Oscar Pistorius will today reveal what he says happened on the morning he shot and killed his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp. Yesterday, the athlete began his testimony by apologizing to Steenkamp's family and tearfully told the court that the 29-year-old was loved when she died. He also testified that he'd been victim to and witnessed several crime incidents, some of them violent. Well, to unpack some of his testimony in court yesterday, I'm joined in the studio by Leon van Niekerk, Senior Psychology Lecturer at the University of Johannesburg. Leon, good morning. Thank you very much for coming in.
Good morning.
Just very briefly, I mean, I know you're not in court, but just following the testimony yesterday, from a psychological perspective, I mean, it was a tough day for Oscar.
Yeah, I think it was an enormous stress that he had to cope with during that trial. The pathologist started, and you could see how his stress and his anxiety built up as he was sitting there, especially with the graphic material that they showed. He sometimes closed his ears, his eyes, almost as if he wants to disconnect from that experience of stress and anxiety. I think as a sports person, this is something new for him. This is new territory. He's not used to this kind of pressure. Although he's an athlete that's on the world stage, that's his environment. He can cope with that. He's got a lot of intrinsic motivation and strength that'll take him through that sport process.
But in a courtroom, it's quite different, especially when you're facing murder charges.
Yeah, that's very, very different. Because if you're on the sport field and you lose a game, you can always come back next time and, try to win that game.
One of the things that we saw earlier in the trial was the whole discussion about his temper. You know, there was quite some time spent on how he behaved socially with guns and stuff like that. The personality of sports people who are highly successful, like Oscar, what kind of traits does one look at and that could influence the way he behaves?
Yes. There's no specific personality that makes you a good sportsman. You get all personalities among the sportsmen and women across the world. But the traits that are important is often control. They are people who really want to take control of their situation. They even take control over what they eat, how they sleep, how they process work through the day. So they are quite controlling people. Another part of it is a bit of arrogance. And I'm not talking about arrogance in the sense that it's negative, but that arrogance that makes you the top person in your sport. You want to be the top dog. You want to establish yourself with that authority. So they are the kind of people.
It's more on the confident side, maybe.
The confident type of person who really wants to stake their claims and claim what is theirs and fight for what they want.
Can the spirit of being highly competitive or being over...
Know more about your world. eNCA.com